Yo, 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 welcome to the Scheelar Experience, episode 3. 2 nights ago or what ago, we had a really awesome show. I'd like to introduce Safire. This is our new singer.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
What's up, G-Ride?
We had a killer show the other night. Figured we would do another podcast just to introduce Safire.
Thanks for having me, Jared.
Right on.
Yeah, the show was wicked. We only had like a couple practices beforehand and seemed like every obstacle that could be put in our way was, but obviously there's something higher planned because it all worked out and it was amazing. It was, yeah, definitely one for the history books, I think.
Yeah, that turned out really well. My 11-year-old son joined us on stage and we found a drummer by pure luck. Showed up at his house and he was covered in oil up to his elbows, and he asked where my drummer was, and I said, well, I'm looking at him.
How was the gig? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
45.
Yeah. Showed up a half hour before the gig started and we were 45 minutes away. All right. So we're going to be answering some of our fans' questions. We got some voice clips, we got Instagram messages, TikTok messages. People are interested what we're up to, so we're here to answer some questions and get to the bottom of it.
Live and raw.
Okay, so this question was from Irie Jen on Instagram. What inspired the name G-Ride Atmosphere Ride? It sounds like a trip in itself. Alright. Well, that's because it is a trip in itself. Alright, I'll just tell the true story.
Yeah.
So, G-Ride Atmosphere. Me and Caden were recording our first song ever at Ryland's house, our drummer. And we recorded probably one of the coolest songs in the world. I don't think it's released. I don't even know if we can still find it. But that is where the title of this band came from, because of the sound of that song. Ryland was like, this sounds like a G-Ride, atmosphere ride type situation. And from that moment on, the rest was history.
I can agree, because as a singer, I always see, like, musical endeavors like this like a journey. And so it's not just a state of sound, it's a state of mind. And you can really hear that through the lyrics, and you can definitely see it in the audience when we perform.
Yeah.
They're not just listening, they're captivated.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some pretty good reviews after our last show. We got second place in Battle of the Bands.
Also, we definitely had to, like, drive it like we stole it on the way to that show.
Yeah,
so.
we did.
It kind of lines up. Do you want me to read the next one?
Sure.
So the next question is from Dylan from Edmonton via voice message. So do you write your songs together, or is one of you the mastermind?
Well, I had a few songs completed before I met Sapphire, but I've been perfecting over many years. And I still didn't feel like they were up to par yet. And I was just in the early stages of getting it all going. Like me and Johnny, the drummer, the original drummer, were jamming for like 2 months, probably 3 times a week, just to get it all ready, basically just to go busking. We were just gonna have fun with it. But then I had a brainwave to contact Sapphire, and she was super interested. And it turned out to be one of the sickest, best moves we could have ever made, because once we added her voice to all the tracks, it gave me a confidence that we're ready. Like, that's where the true mastermind became a true mastermind, was when we put our talents together.
Yes.
Because she has a very awesome project on her own, multiple, and that's kind of what half of our album is now going to consist of, is redoing some of her songs as ska for G-Ride Atmosphere. And that is going to be a crazy journey.
Yeah. You know, we met earlier in the summer, and I remember we had kind of like touched on the fact that you had a project coming up. We had that jam, and then kind of like separated for a bit. I got up to my own stuff, and yeah, I went very, very deep into my own projects. But that's what I was so stoked to see, is because there's nothing more than I love in a collaboration than an actual collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, where we're coming from two different viewpoints and two different perspectives and like styles, very different styles, but that we bring something to the table and we let the other person eat. You know, we're sharing. And it totally, that's why I think we were talking earlier, we were talking about how really like this project made itself. And like it kind of has that universal mastermind behind it, because it brought the right people together, the right medleys, you know, those like hidden gems that we were kind of keeping in the background, and they never really came together until
oh my
we put
God.
them together.
It's so
it's
true.
like they were waiting for this project
That's
in order
nice.
to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been a trip.
Yeah, and the best is yet to come. Like, we've only just begun, and we've just finished writing out a 45 song list, and we have learned 18 of them so far, so we're doing pretty good.
Yes, we almost went over that cap too, right?
Yeah.
Like we have a few extras just in case.
True.
For those encores.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we are planning to headline soon. Once we got all those 45 songs down, we're planning headlining shows because it's time.
It's time. Time for a G-Ride.
Yeah.
From the streets to the stage to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. Mm-hmm. All right, this song is from Leo. What's one song that means the most to you personally? I guess we could each answer that one.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Well, honestly, in the spirit of G-Ride, Where Did You Go, our newest release, is probably at the top of the list because it's so fitting to our situation right now. We lost a bass player, we lost a drummer. I thought we were losing everybody. But we pulled together and had one of the most amazing shows ever. So Where Did You Go?
Ooh.
Johnny? Dan?
I mean, we're getting real. We're speaking truth, so yeah, absolutely.
Well, we miss you anyways,
Yes.
so come back.
Yes. Your seat's getting cold.
Yeah.
For me, I've got to say that the song that means the most to me personally is probably Raise Your Hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That one's sweet.
Yes, as well as Plant a Seed. That was one of my favorites. And like when we were driving through Red Deer to pick up our drummer, and, you know, and get everything figured out, we actually pulled out the GoPro and we started filming going through the streets. And I've been homeless in Red Deer before, and I've met some of the most amazing people out there, and people who are willing to plant those seeds and be there to help, and realizing that something's wrong, it's only gonna fix it if we reclaim the streets. That line to me, like, even just goosebumps all over. That's one of the most beautifully written songs I've ever come across in Alberta, and especially for like a reggae song, that one's gonna hit so hard. No matter what festival we go to or like where we're at, someone's gonna listen to that one and be like, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're gonna get it, man.
Cool.
Next one.
Yeah.
So it's from Kiki from Vancouver. Will there ever be a vinyl release? Please say yes.
Well, we might. I know Bandcamp offers vinyls, so we'll get our stuff on vinyl pretty soon. But first, we needed to get to the quality we're at, and it's not even released yet. So once it's released, I could consider vinyl for sure. I think that's a possibility.
Your voice would sound so good on wax.
Ooh.
So
that's awesome.
I look forward to that one.
Cool.
Here you are.
Any chance of a? Oh, sorry. This is from Mateo in Chile.
Hey, Mateo.
Hey, man. Any chance of a South America tour? We need that Canadian reggae heat.
Ooh.
So far, it's probably not gonna happen this year unless we make some major breakthroughs. But like,
Never say never.
Like, I hope it's next month if,
Yeah.
if it goes my way.
Get your passport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music definitely would connect there, that's for sure. I see us in open air spaces, jungle stages, and definitely on the beach.
And actually, wasn't one of the girls who was doing songs previously? She was from Chile, wasn't she?
Costa Rica, yeah.
Costa Rica,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Costa. Nice.
Yeah. We'll definitely be practicing our Spanish if we're going there.
Okay, I'm down.
Alright. Oh, I turned off my touch settings. Alright, this one's from Mel in Winnipeg. What's the biggest difference between recording in the studio versus performing live? Well, let me tell you. In the studio, you have full control over what's going on. Live, you have to rely on musicians, promoters, people to show up to your show. Like, there's a lot included. You have to make sure you can get to the show. You have to make sure all your equipment's ready. You need to have backup strings. You need to have a tuner. There's a lot of things to make sure that you're ready for a live performance. And let alone that, you gotta make sure you know your songs. And if you have bandmates that don't want to practice, so that makes it even harder. But recording in the studio, I've developed a method that makes it pretty easy. So definitely the difference between studio and live is stress factor. Oh yeah. How about you? What do you feel about the studio versus live?
I love live.
Yeah, me too.
I think we had a little comment after the show where we were talking about how it felt like we were back at the studio.
True.
Like just performing with each other. Mm-hmm. And yes, like getting it all there and making it all happen. It's, I feel like the stress is definitely gone on stage while you're performing. Because you're already up there. There's no stopping the song in the middle and giving critique or feedback. That's when we really learn how to trust each other and work together, is because we're there to support each other. Like when Rylan was talking about how he got lost at one point, and like kudos, because this guy practiced with us once and then got on stage. So there was one point where we all got off track and your kiddo just came in and started subbing with bass to kind of fill in, because he knew that there was something up and he wanted to be able to get us to the next point. Kid's first performance, like absolutely mind-blowing, and goosebumps again. That's why I love performing, is because other people get to see those moments. There's lots of things that happen in the studio where we're like, that was amazing, but nobody sees it.
True.
Right? And I really like live shows because there's people there. You know, we get to see the reactions. Sometimes I feel like we can let self-doubt set in when we're practicing. When maybe like personalities start clashing, or someone gets tired and is stressed and it starts bringing down the energy. We also have that obligation of being at a show and keeping it up. Like, we don't have a choice to falter. You got to keep that vibe up.
Yeah.
But at home, there's more snacks and pee breaks too. So I don't know, it's a hard one.
True. Yeah. Yeah, that brought me through a lot of different brainwaves just talking about that. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Quincy from California. If you could collaborate with any artists, alive or gone, who would it be? I'll let you go first.
Oh, there's so many. For our genre in specific, I'm kind of going more towards like female artists. Just because I feel like we could totally use like an extra set of harmonies. Cool. So like Elle King, Tash Sultana, Tones and I, you know, something like that. I think that also because we do have some points that are more like rappy. Yeah, getting some rappers on. MGK any day. Any day. Any day.
Okay, well, as for me, the artists that I want to collaborate are with people you don't even know probably. Because they're local guys, semi-local, Alberta guys. And yeah, I just sometimes you find these. It's hard to find inspiration in the world, so when you can find that, and then let alone have them standing right in front of you, I think that's the coolest thing ever, is to find the people that have not been found yet. Okay, Tasha from Montreal. What do you do when you hit a creative block? We're not telling. No.
Trade secrets.
Yeah. Well, honestly though, with Johnny's got a great adventurous spirit to him, and he's a key to my wild thoughts for music videos, and he's always a guy that's down to go and do that adventurous stuff. So the key for my creative blocks is to surround me with creative people that inspire me to keep going and not stop.
Yes.
How about you?
I touch grass.
Yeah.
I've said a few times around
Grounding.
Jared, I just need to lay on the floor in the sun or touch some grass. I read. I really like that practice where we just go and we find quotes and we find things that are relevant to the moment. We start reflecting on the moment, and I think within that process, that's where you release the block, is because you're not trying to make it happen. You're relaxing your mind and you're opening up your heart to whatever's going on around you or whatever is blocking it. And then we have discussions, and we kind of talk about it and clear that block, and then the creativity just comes naturally after that. We pick up like right where we left off.
It's true. Yeah, it's always good to just take a break when you're not feeling it and get back on the level. All right, this one's an anonymous direct message. What's one thing people misunderstand about being a professional musician? There's a lot. There's an emotional side that you just will never know until you're there.
The panic.
Yeah.
Realizing that it's not just a hobby or a passion, but everything you do revolves around that, and everything either makes you feel like you're kind of hitting too hard, or you need to let yourself breathe within goals and stuff. I find myself really lacking that balance between doing the things in my life that I need to accomplish to have stability for my music, and keeping enough spontaneity and free time and flexibility where that music is even a possibility. So it's sometimes it feels like you have to choose one or the other, but that's when you have to really find that balance, because they work together. Also the social life. I feel like people think that musicians are the most social and cool people ever. No, we're all super introverted, lack communication skills. That's why we learn music in the first place, is because it was another form of expression, as well as because we're all so caught up in our own projects, and we have almost I have never met a artist who doesn't have an equal ego as they do to an imposter syndrome. So we tend to crave our own space for that creativity, but then we feel like it's not fulfilled when it's not collaborated or when it's not involving people. So then that's when finding that niche of people who want the same thing for a project and want to commit at the same level is really hard, because we all have our own journeys going on, and to find artistic journeys that integrate and align with each other is really hard. But when you do, it's like hitting gold. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth the wait, that's for sure.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay. Nova from Calgary. What's your pre-show ritual? Anything you have to do before hitting the stage? Well, the super joint ritual. No.
Yeah. Cross joint.
Yeah. No, honestly, we're gonna make a ritual just because of this now.
Yeah.
So thank you for the suggestion.
Me and Roman played napkin foosball. Yeah, play some arcade games. But usually, since high school, I've done this thing where I relax myself and I do this thing, and you go up to 5 and then go down and go to 4 and then 3.
Oh, cool.
And then 1, and it kind of just centers that body, mind, and it gives you something to concentrate on, so you get away from those stage nerves.
Cool.
And then if it ever happens on stage, I just kind of tap on my leg, and it does the same exercise, but it doesn't look to other people like I'm nervous. Just like tambourine. Yeah.
Apparently going like this grounds your positive and negative.
Ooh. What happens when you do that?
I don't know.
Video
lens.
Yeah. Explosion.
That's Okay, if you could. Okay, this is from James in Seattle. If you could describe your sound in 3 words, what would they? If you could describe your sound in 3 words, what would they be?
I'd say soulful. Very. I want to say cinematic, but in like a bloodhound gang way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like a Suahum for sure.
Yes, yes. Rootsy. You know,
yeah.
Very Albertan. You can hear the Albertan twang in it, but then, yeah, we would do great in South America. We could go play in the States. Like, our music would fit anywhere. It would hit the roots of no matter what, like, demographic we're around. So I think it's very expansive. That's cool. 4. Take away the last one.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you?
If I had to put it into 3 words, I'm still trying to find those right keywords. No one's listening to our music. No, just cut that out.
Yeah. Yeah. If nobody was listening, we wouldn't have all these questions.
Yeah. All right, moving along. Okay. This is more... We'll ask you first. How do you handle creative disagreements? This is from SoundGirl89 on Twitter.
I do this. And I just wait for it to roll over. Because that's all you really can do. You have to wait for them to tucker themselves out. Because creative disagreements, there's no way to find like a winner of those. It has to reach a consensus. Mm-hmm. Each person has to give a little. So, and when you're in collaboration, you're never gonna get your vision 100%. It's like releasing a movie or a manuscript. As soon as you put that out there to have other creatives join in and take over the project to make the project turn out as, you know, like efficiently as possible. You can have a great creative vision, but that doesn't mean that it's 100% possible with the people involved that you have working on it. So you have to be able to sacrifice some of your creativity for progress. Mm-hmm. So in those moments where we had creative disagreements, I try not to have them. I try to be very open in creativity. Personalities is another thing. I have to be very proud and trusting of the people I work with. But creative disagreements, there's no winning them. You have to sacrifice what you want for the project, like just to make sure that it happens. Because if 2 people are fighting and won't reach that agreement or a little bit of the like mediation or leave it till later to figure out, it could sacrifice a gig. It could sacrifice a member. Egos start coming into play. It's always project first. Yeah.
Our biggest our biggest bottleneck is me trying to convert metal musicians into ska reggae guys.
It's working though.
It's working.
After first show, our drummer's like, he was iffy at first, but after he's like, so like you're gonna have to get another cymbal on your drum set so that it aligns with the drums I'm using on stage because this is gonna be a problem. I'm like, the fact you're saying it's going to be a problem means like there's going to be a next gig.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we got one from Logan in Kelowna.
Logan.
What advice would you give to someone just starting out in music? Quit. No, I'm just kidding.
Alright.
That's not what we're about. That's not what we're about. I teach my kids music all the time, and the biggest thing you can do is start and don't stop. 15 minutes a day. You want to learn guitar, look up guitar tabs. Don't look at the notes. Don't worry about that. Unless you know the notes already, then you're going to be light years ahead. But just start with tabs. It's way easier. That's what I would do if you want guitar. If you're going to learn any other instrument, look up the tabs. It's just numbers and it's super easy to figure out. I've been doing that since I was a kid too. If it's drums, you're going to have to start drumming on your lap, tapping your toe until you can afford anything. There's a cajon over there, there's drums, there's many ways to play drums. I've built drum kits out of Tupperware containers.
Pens.
Yeah.
Pens happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just drum on your desk at school if that's what's going on, who cares? You can always be playing drums.
Yes.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone starting out in music?
Starting out in music, for like technical wise, is be open to making mistakes and really find that flow, because that's where good songwriters come from. People who make mistakes can learn from them and actually integrate them. You might have never found a sound or like created a riff the way you did, or a beat if your hand didn't slip that way, or if you didn't get distracted and zone out and kind of change it up a bit. So don't be too hard on yourself when you don't achieve things perfectly, because I think that's what art is all about, is that it's meant to be a beautiful, a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say.
Yeah.
But once you start getting more into things and developing yourself as an artist, you got to decide whether you want to be someone who is technical and skillful and just wants to get up on a stage and perform well. If you want to be an influencing artist, you have to define who you are and what your vision is, because then once you start collaborating with other people, yes, you're going to have to submit a little bit and kind of osmosis effect into whoever you're working with. But you have to be able to hold your own, because you don't want to be completely taken over as an artist. You know, especially if there's a case where, you know, people separate all the time, things don't work out. If at the end of that road, those people created music for you or they shaped you as an artist and you feel lost, you have to be able to kind of have a home to come back to in yourself, where you know yourself as an artist and what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good contingency plan.
Yes, yeah, a little safety net.
That's awesome, yeah. Well, we're dealing with a pro singer here, so she's definitely got to be careful with what she's doing.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I guess that was it.
See.
Drop some more questions and we'll get back to you.
Yes. Well, it was awesome being here. I think we covered a lot. I think we got to know each other a lot more also, like where we're coming out with the project. We talk a lot of technical stuff and getting songs together and, you know, promoting and getting us out there. But it was really nice kind of seeing where your mind's at.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was nice to sit down and do this podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got the time to do that. We're planning a jam later today. We're going to be releasing music videos like for the next 2 months. We got a lot coming down the pipeline for you guys, so thanks for tuning in and I hope you enjoyed.
Bye.
Bye.